It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. And this is Neeley along with my very good friend and partner, Chris Aiken. We are live here at the 78th Street Studio in Cleveland, Ohio for the Raining Rock Heavy Metal Day.
Yes.
And, boy, we had quite an interesting character with us, Sicky and Phantom from Black Death.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting, wasn't it?
No doubt. I think that'll probably be one of the highlights of the day for sure. I definitely, our fans will go, who the hell were those guys?
Sicky is like a hurricane hitting a trailer park where all the windows are open in every trailer. It's just like, and everything, it just gets the fuck out of the way. Holy cow.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we got a live performance coming up here.
We do. Olathia going to kick our asses, I guess. Maybe. Look at him looking all nervous.
Yeah, there's like, are we ready to go yet?
You know, the 15 people staring at you are just staring at you, looking for the best show of their life, but no pressure. You know?
All right, well, why don't we take it away and let these guys and gals do what they do best.
All
we're coming to the stage.
Coming to the floor.
Exactly.
It is.
Here at the 78th Street Studio, this is Olathia exclusively here
on your Classic Metal Show.
Wow, it's amazing to be here with y'all. Thank y'all for coming out today, man. We appreciate it. We got one more we're going to do for you acoustic-wise. A lot of people actually requested us to do this, so we're going to do it today for you guys. Is that cool? We'll do a little song called Isolation. Right on, right on. Now we're going to talk to these fine gentlemen over here and get some fucking metal talk going. I love you, Siggy. This is Isolation. Just a hand of doom, mystery cracked alive, tension built with sleep deprived. Will you see yourself by blue lights? In your fever dreams, I just want you. Push a child and knock him down. Teach him how to touch the ground. Nowhere the sun, no reference. Just the hand of doom. Just the joy of him and pride. Abstract words are sanctified. Well, you steal yourself by bleeding lies. In your fever dreams, I just wanting lies. Bleeding lies. Send me your anger, I'll swallow it whole. Suffer with the scorn that you know. Did you build your cage on a fool's gold? Did you find the key to find a bingo? Why did you ever come to me? I could never give you what you see. You should know that you reap what you sow. You're just as good as the ones that you keep. nothing inside. The isolation chamber is where you hide. Thank you.
All right. Two of you sit down. We're not picky. Yeah, well, I'm good.
We got to turn it on.
All
I'm
right.
good. We're still running.
So there you go. That was Olathia.
Olathia.
Doing some acoustic here at the 78th Street Studio.
That's right.
The Raining Rock event.
That's right.
This is the event of the year, Chris. Christmas is coming, but, you know, nobody's going to even be looking forward to that.
No.
Today's Christmas.
Yeah, today is Christmas, and all those that stayed home, fuck them. They missed out.
Exactly right.
They missed out. Thank you for playing, guys. That was fantastic.
Thank
Thank you for having us. This was awesome.
Is this your first gig or what? This is the first time you played together?
Pretty much, yep.
Acoustically.
I was
Just met in
walking
the
the
parking
street, and they
lot.
picked me up, you know.
Yeah, just met in the parking lot, right?
Yeah.
I meet a lot of people that way.
Just I went like this, and that was it.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, obviously, you guys are, you know, you've been around a while, whether it's the old band or now this one.
True.
You know, I don't even know if you remember, but you actually performed with us at Nelson's Ledges at that, what was that, Fake Fest
It
or
wasn't
whatever.
Fake Fest or
I kind of remember.
yeah, that was like 08,
Yeah, it was
07, 08.
11 years ago, 12 years ago or
Yeah,
something? Good
that was
God.
fun. I kind of remember because I was sleeping half in and half out of a van at the end of the night. So, you know, it was good weather, you know.
Yeah, we actually broadcast live from there wirelessly.
Yeah.
No
It
shit.
was. I think that's the first time anybody ever did anything like that.
Literally, he had to climb up on the top of a tool
Tool
shed
shed.
or something to put a router so that we could broadcast. It was the dumbest thing ever.
But it worked.
That's badass, man. You made
worked.
it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys, Chris and I talk about, what makes a band. I mean, obviously, lineups change all the time and members come and go. So what distinguishes a band when, say, like maybe one or two of the original members remain and then, you know, a bunch of new people come in or have had a revolving door? How do you distinguish what makes a band?
I think with this particular project, I had a vision of it from the get-go that it was going to be two guitars, a lot of harmonies, a lot of dynamics, and, you know, screaming, singing, just a whole bunch of different things. I love dynamics, things that punch in the gut and then massage your heart at the same time.
Right.
And so that was the vision from the get-go. And, yeah, you had different members that come and go, and it's really fun because everybody leaves their imprint, and then maybe it's not for them long-term. You know, maybe they're getting married or doing something else. But that vision has always been steady. You know, that train has kept on, and it's something that a lot of people dig, you know. So when somebody new comes on and they get to add their essence, like, I love that. It keeps growing
Right.
with that vision.
Well, and you certainly are way more artistic than just songwriting. I mean, you obviously, with the new release, you've got the Gothic comic book, and you've got a lot of different flavors. Just musically, there's a lot of different flavors. You know, listening to the CD, I'm going to imagine that you probably collectively, but I'm pointing at you, but I'll point it to whoever. I have to imagine that Olathia is a project that never comes with satisfaction, that you're done with it and immediately it's like, well, if we would have just put more bass here, more guitar here, or if we'd have done this with the comic book instead of that, or if this was a different color, you know, I have to imagine that you guys are like every other band that I know that is always growing artistically, that you're never satisfied.
No, you always want to explore, man. I want to be like fucking Lewis and Clark and going into the wilderness, you know? And that's the fun of it, you know? Brian brings a lot with his songwriting from a drummer's aspect, and we've had songs that have started with him.
Okay.
You know, Greg as well, and Terry, and our new guy that people will meet at the food drive. So that's the fun part. You're never going to stop growing or learning or evolving. And I feel like our albums or our songs, it's like reading a good book. Each chapter holds its own, but it's collective too.
Right. Is it difficult to get fans that do not come in with a preconceived notion, and specifically the preconceived notion of thinking that you're a symphonic metal band
Right.
when you're absolutely not? You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure when they see the pictures and they see the art and stuff, they're oh, cool, Nightwish.
Yeah.
And then it's like you put it on, it's like there's nothing Nightwish-ish about this.
Wishish. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, New Blood is really fun, man, because you blows a lot of people's minds, and
Right.
you know, I love it if you have a preconceived notion, or if you're just there to get drunk, whatever. What's cool is people will remember something if you give them an experience in a show, and that's
Sure.
what we try to do. So, and I don't care whatever somebody thinks. I'm just going to do my thing. Some people are going to dig it. Some people aren't.
Right.
That's all right.
Sure. Is as a long-term member of the scene and somebody that's been active in the scene for a very long time, how have you seen it change? And is it a growth? Is it not a growth? Is it, it's a weird thing because
Yeah.
some people will tell you that it's bigger, but it's more underground. Other people will tell you it's much, much smaller. Some will tell you there's a lot of camaraderie. Some will tell you there's none. You've kind of bridged, of everybody that we've talked to, you're one of the few that has bridged through that. So what are you seeing?
Yeah, and as people have touched on earlier, the internet is a whole different ball game. You
Right.
know, I think we still have that underground fire in Cleveland, and then some people latch on to, hey, there's things you can do with the social media to branch out and
Right.
and get more people on the train or expose yourself, and some people don't, and it all kind of works. But I think in the end, Cleveland is a metal town, has to do with you guys, with Bill Peters, and with the heart and soul that people have here. And we have such great clubs and venues that will support
Right.
live music of all genres that you can go to any night of the week, which is fucking amazing.
Right, yeah.
So, for me, I love it all. I mean, there's so many people you meet through the internet, but for me, the pure moment is actually being live and shaking someone's hand and talking to them. And I never forget that, because when I'm at a show, that's a pure experience. So I want to give that to somebody else.
Well, with the long game for Olathia, getting out there obviously is what you have to do today, because nobody's buying music today, unfortunately.
Yep,
I
you're
mean,
right.
that's just fact.
Yeah.
And with people who have been in the music business a while and they have family responsibilities and obligations, it gets tougher and tougher as you get older to get out there and play live or travel to play live. How far out do you guys go, or would you go, and what would it take, monetarily wise, to say, hey, we want you to come down to, I'm just going to throw out a city like Richmond, Virginia to play?
Yeah.
What would it take to say, well, that's worth it for us to do that?
Well, the thing about Cleveland is you can be a weekend warrior in a lot of good circuits, because you can get up to Chicago, to New York. You can really go to Toronto even. So you can do it pretty cost effectively. And for me, if you're going to give us a great crowd with great exposure, maybe put a little food in our belly and some good drinks in our hand, we can work something out at any
Not in
different
that
level.
order?
Yeah. Yeah, we can work something out, because you do have to get out on the road and expand yourself, because absolutely what you had said. And the flip side of the coin is that too, is you better make sure you're dialed into what you do and you're doing your marketing so that can appeal to someone, because if they're going to invest in you, you got to deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, how far out will you guys travel?
Oh, we'll go over the pond, man. We want to go to Germany. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Well, let me just ask you something. Since travel to go international takes some money. So what would it take you guys to do that? Would you come out of your own pocket for the chance to do that?
Absolutely.
Well, again, I don't know. I'm asking the question.
That's a good question. And absolutely you would, because it's not just about the money in the end. You do this because you love this, and there's experiences that you get to have along the way in places with people and all that. And that is invaluable. You can't put a dollar sign on that. You know what I mean? So you got to say, hey, we're going to make it happen. We'll put you in out of our pocket because we want to do that and be a part of it.
How is it that you guys have not latched on yet to like Pure Steel Records or one of those companies that are, I don't even want to call them record labels anymore because it's
Yeah.
more like a distribution plus, I guess. It's not a true label, but how is it that you guys haven't got sucked into that? Is that a purposeful choice? Because, I mean, you guys are doing a very pro product.
Thank you.
Very much more pro than a lot of pro product that I actually get into my hands.
You actually just said it, because a lot of them are a distribution plus or something of that nature. And we can do so much ourselves DIY and through the internet and just in person with people that you're going to have to really beat that for me to give up control. Because the product that we're doing, we all put a lot of heart and effort and work and time into that.
Sure.
And if you just turn it over to somebody else, it may not become that product anymore. So we're working towards that goal, but right now, you got it. We're okay being DIY. It's fun.
Makes sense. And the interesting thing, I want to talk about the comic book a little bit. I did leaf through it. I'm not going to lie and say that I read through it real hard. I just kind of leafed through it. But it's hitting at the right time. It seems like comic books and manga and all that stuff are very hot right now. It's the perfect time to do that combination. I mean, and others have tried it in the past and not done real well. I'll point to a very famous guy, Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
His Last Temptation, no one gave a shit. Everybody liked the album. Who remembers the comic book? Nobody. But right now it's the time because there's a lot of younger, the millennial age. They love the manga. They love the comics. And they might latch onto the comic first and then hear the soundtrack to the comic. And that's kind of backwards from how it's always been. But it's an interesting concept that makes sense in 2019-20.
Yeah, and for us, it didn't start out as being a comic book. We were in the studio recording and thinking about how we wanted to present our artwork and different things. Mm-hmm. And we had a guy in Spain who has done some illustrations, and we were starting to work with. And as we were in the studio, and I was just thinking, man, we're working with Noah Buchanan. We got Matt Moser, our photographer. Like, they are amazing artists in themselves. And I was pissed off, thinking, what the fuck? I'm going to give them little thumbnails to display their stuff?
Right.
So I thought, remember when they had those cool tour programs in the 80s? I'm like, what if we do a tour of the album and make it in that format so people can experience the songs in a different way in the story? So everybody was on board. We pitched it to Matt, and I'm like, Matt, I can only pay you so much. We're an underground band. It's going to be a lot of fucking work. And before I could even finish a sentence, he's like, I'm in, Nice. So that's what we did. And the interesting thing that we found unplanned was so many people have said to me, I got this bundle. Mm-hmm. I put the music in, whether it was from, the internet or on the CD, and I listened to it from beginning to end and went through the Gothic comic book. And I was like, holy shit, in this day and age of internet singles and you can change your song after 10 seconds, you actually listen to the whole 44 whatever minutes? And they were like, yeah, and I was immersed. So I'm thankful that happened. Wow.
It's a weird thing. I do, this, I write books.
Yes.
And with all the books, I do lyrics, start of a chapter, end of a chapter, just whatever kind of guides me to write whatever bullshit I write. It sort of guides me. And I can't tell you how many emails that I've gotten from people with the same exact concept where, to where now part of my marketing of my books is I build the Spotify playlist so that everybody can, and then I share the Spotify playlist in the back of the book so that if people really want to get immersed into my nonsense, they can do it with kind of the headspace that I was in. And it is a valuable tool, and it's something that's hard to explain that to somebody. It's hard to say, well, if you do this and you do this, because then once you start doing that, everybody's like, work. No, they don't want to do that. But if they do that, they seem to get a much, much better representation of what you're trying to say.
Yeah, and for us as artists, to do it musically and then to take it to another realm artistically with other people who wanted to do it, we gave them a lot of freedom. There was not like, hey, this page needs to be this picture or whatever it is. Right. No, it was like, how does it make you feel? And like Matt Moser, the photographer, he says, I have probably listened to this music more than the band himself, and trying to get my visions for things. And a lot of people were happy that they had the creative freedom to be a part of that too. So the sum became way greater than the parts in the end, and it's kick-ass. I'm happy that we were able to do it.
Well, how many hours a week do you think you spend on Olathia outside of, whatever your other gigs are? And
133.
Because, obviously Chris and I have been doing this show for 24 years, and, there is a certain amount of time that we put into this because, like you, we don't give up control to anyone. We are not commercially sponsored. That was a plan from the beginning. We'll never do that, because we're not going to change what we do. And as you mentioned, that, we're not going to change, by signing with a label, and it becomes something it was not before. And, so we feel the same way. We get exactly what you're talking about. So how much time do you put into it through the week, whether it's marketing or using the social media or coming up with new ideas or writing songs or trying to schedule something and try, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. My rule of thumb is I have to do something every day. Some days it's not a lot. Some days I get lost in it, because you go down the rabbit hole and you start finding all these people. But it's amazing, like when you put 10 irons in the fire, you'll usually get 2 things out of it. But you have to put that work in to do the 10. So some days it's a lot, some days it's not. But every day there has to be something, because consistency and patience and persistence are a beautiful thing for creative people, because you keep growing and expanding and connecting.
And the obvious is the day you don't put in is the day somebody looked and missed.
Oh, dude, that fucking A, totally. And these guys, too, all do it, too. Everybody's a part of it, too. So I'm thankful that it doesn't all fall on me. And they'll toss me ideas, check this out, or do this site, or, they're always at jam and coming up with ideas. So that makes it really cool that the scales are very balanced with everybody's participation.
Just not this interview.
Yeah, I know. Because I have the big mouth. I always talk the most.
So what's on the what's on the schedule for Olathia, say, to the year's end and maybe into the new year? You guys got something on the slate, performance wise or product wise or anything like that?
We do both. Anybody want to jump in? I'll give up some mic time. I don't want to hog it all. You got to fight me for it, though.
I want to kneel down, Brian. This is where I want to be. But no, we've got quite a busy end of the fall as we dig into the winter. We've got some very cool opportunities coming up. I think Chrissy had mentioned we've got a wonderful event here in Cleveland that is really our kind of mainstay when it comes to giving back to the community, and it's the WJCU Food Drive. And that bad boy's coming up the second week of December 14th at the Beachland Ballroom.
The food drive. I love the fucking food drive.
Absolutely. And we have been steadfast working on some tricks that, there's going to be some surprises for the food drive. Awesome. And it's going to,
there will be new music. That's what it is. There's going to be new music.
Us, and it's going to be a collaborative effort with the music community. So we're really excited about where that's coming. As we dig into further, we're really kind of setting our sights on a couple of more, I would say, exclamation point kind of shows coming up in the spring. We've got one on the books already we're excited about. I'm not sure, really, that's pretty far out in the future.
Right.
But definitely excited about those landmark performances. But man alive, we're in the grind right now.
Right.
And
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's my plan.
Well,
Ron, did you hear that? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's my plan. He's in.
Husband approves?
I was like,
Rock and roll.
all right.
Very cool. Now, where can people find you?
If you Google Olathia, Olathia, we will pop up very fast, very soon.
Easy.
Yeah, and our Bandcamp, you can get all the stuff, the bundle with the spell book, some cool T-shirts. We got Frisbees. We got like a lot of fun merch and stuff too. Right. So if you Google Olathia, you will find us.
Oh, nice. Very good. Anything else, Chris?
I'm talked out.
All right.
Everybody else go home. That's it.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys spending a few minutes with us here on the Classic Metal Show and being a part of this event today, and playing a great acoustic set there. And we didn't know how that was going to work out. Being set up in a little room like this. And,
yeah.
But so it worked out great, I think. So.
Yeah. Greg said neither did we. We didn't know how it was going to turn out.
All right, well, all right, we'll go look for them out there on the internet and see them if they come to a town near you, and support them at the food drive What is that in December?
December 14th,
Yeah, that's what
Saturday,
I
December
thought.
14th at the Beachland Ballroom.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. Thank
All
you,
right.
guys.
Well, I thought I'd play a tune here from Olathia. Maybe you guys pick either Black Widow or Torn Apart.
Ooh, they're both good. You guys pick.
We can play both.
Go for it, man.
Tell us a little bit about Black Widow.
Black Widow is a real fun ride. I basically wrote myself as a new character into the Hellraiser series. So there's a lot of sexual innuendos and a lot of killing innuendos. So it's a fun ride.
Very nice. All right. Well, here it is. This is Olathia with Black Widow exclusively here.
On your classic metal show.
Ow.